which we call as natural sequestration, which is done by planting trees. There are other ways. You can reduce plastic by converting plastics into rotatory or circular economy. So what Blockvolt does is any decarbonization activity that a company does or a government does, we convert that amount of carbon dioxide removed or the amount of diesel or coal that was not burned to produce an electricity, we convert that unit of measurement into a carbon credit. So that's what we do. So let's move on. So look at the total addressable market in this. The TAM, or the market size for carbon credit issuance and validation, today stands at 3 trillion. It's one of the fastest growing and one of the highest or the biggest markets that are out there. So today, if you look at some of the investments that have come into, let's say, AI tech, the second largest is in clean tech or climate tech. What we intend to do is we try to reduce the delay for a solar plant owner or a forest developer to get his project validated and registered in the company's carbon registry and then issue carbon credits, which we known as a verification or a monitoring phase. So what we do is we reduce the time by 86% or the delay rates that are coming, because every process in getting your company's project registered is manual. We automate it. The other problem is there is a compulsory compliance from the Indian stock market as well as the gazette that was published by the Indian Ministry of Power, Bureau of Energy Efficiency, and the Ministry of Environment, which states that every company's carbon reduction must be stamped by the Indian carbon market. So the manual verification, the compliance struggle for ESG, we reduce the time and the cost. So let's look at what is the ESG compliance burden that is affecting every state, including Telangana and all the companies that are in Telangana, all the small and medium. So you have to cut down on your scope one emission reduction, which is the emission reduction that comes from your diesel power plant, anything that you have on your premise. The petrol is owned by you, the diesel plant is owned by you. Scope two is emission that is coming from buying electricity produced by coal and power, also the emission that is coming from your funnel. Scope 3 is not your company's emission, it is the company from where you buy raw materials. Their emission also you need to consider. And the supply chain means your raw material providers raw material. So this is the scope number 3. So the entire supply chain has to be greened. How does carbon management, which is so slow, so manual, so expensive, be solved using a Blockvolt? We are a hardware which has a blockchain notarization chip running on the hardware. What we do is we are meters. So we have energy meter powered by AI and blockchain. We have carbon dioxide measurement meters, which is powered by AI and blockchain. We automate AI powered data collection for solar power plants, green kilowatt hour produced. Also, the amount of carbon dioxide that is breathed in by the trees, and we continue it to plastic, the amount of plastic, weight of the plastic that is recycled, the amount of oxygen credits or the oxygen that is put into the ocean, the amount of compressed biogas that is produced by a CBG plant, compressed biogas plant, the amount of tons of biochar that is produced by a biochar plant. But today, our hardware is ready only for renewable energy and for nature-based solution, which is for counting the number of trees. We are a real-time continuous validation process. We replace all the manual. Our hardware takes a continuous reading of carbon dioxide emission and green electricity produced. We immediately stake it into a blockchain and with high security. And we are a decentralized physical infrastructure, and we measure that on a hardware and send it to a software or cloud. So there are 6 methods to save the earth or to decarbonize. First, you need to calculate the amount of carbon you emit. Then you take a pledge saying I will reduce my carbon by 18% or 20%, which is called a target. And then you start uh, you put a strategy and start doing projects to reduce your carbon dioxide. Where Blockworld comes in is in number 4, which is eliminate, remove electricity that you take from the grid, from Telangana distribution company or Telangana generation company, and put your own solar plant or wind plant. So we measure your green electricity produced or generated. That is eliminate. We also do offset, which is to measure the number of trees that you have planted in your natural sequestration forest. And then we comply to the United Nations. The first use case, like I said, is eliminate, where Blockvolt puts an energy meter, which is a kilowatt hour measurement, and then we automate the energy and carbon validation into renewable energy certificates. Let me go into a little bit of detail. This is how it looks like. We put our hardware on the renewable energy production. The renewable energy production tracks the energy produced. It notarizes and certifies the green kilowatt hour coming from your solar plant. It converts this kilowatt hour into green credits or electricity credits known as REC, renewable energy certificates. And then these certificates can, of course, be traded in the carbon registries or the carbon markets. What are the industries that use us? Any factory in Telangana which has to comply to European Union's CBAM program, we call him CBAM polluters, the first in the pyramid, must look at our solution. Any large corporation that has got listed in the Bombay Stock Exchange and is part of the Telangana's SME and manufacturing should also look at us. How do we get this solved? We ship a REC hardware. It's an IoT enabled smart sensor. Of course, you can get it. We are planning to send it through Amazon India, Flipkart. Then you need to get our subscription software, which converts a kilowatt hour into Blockvolt tokens. You have to then get a username and password on our cloud services. We tokenize it, and then you can send it to the registry and the carbon markets to sell. We'll take a small margin on the selling. How to install this project? First, you need to tell us if you have a captive power plant or a solar plant in your factory. If you don't have that, we have uh, a solar plant EPC contractor that will help you build it. Then we need to run what is known as a smart IoT meter step number 3, which is our meter. Then we convert from in our meter kilowatt to TCO2, and then the TCO2 is converted into a currency or a REC, we call it an electronic carbon credit certificate or an electronic renewable energy certificate, and then you can trade it either in a blockchain exchange or on a carbon exchange. The next thing that we do is we combine the data from energy to the data that is coming from the forest, which is known as a nature-based system, and we push it the same thing. So this is coming under offset program, wherein we sequester or plant trees. We collect the data from the tree, and then we stamp it using real-time stamping. So we collect forest data using drones, cameras. We convert or count the number of trees, the biological name of the tree, and then we do the same thing. We convert that carbon dioxide which is inhaled into carbon credits, and then you can sell it. Same thing. Some of the companies that need it, what you need to buy is an extra drone and a GIS software along with the rest of the stuff. Now let's quickly, now that we understood how Blockvolt calculates unit of measurement of decarbonization at the edge or at the source and converts it into green carbon credit, let's look at a quick supply chain for a cement industry. In a cement industry, at every step of the process, they have to decarbonize. That is, they need to reduce the coal or diesel energy taken, reduce the energy consumption, or reduce the emission or the polluting air that is coming out from each of these processes. So in query, which is transportation of um, limestone, we are changing the diesel truck to EV, and Blockvolt will calculate this thing. That Blockvolt hardware is not ready yet. In the crushing and grinding, we, instead of using fossil energy, which is diesel plant or coal plant, we use solar. So like that, if you go from left to right, you can see there is a water registry where you're using clinkers, recycled water, chill water, and you can get water credits. And you have the plastic credits, which is converting the plastic bag to jute bag in bagging. And you have CCUH, carbon capture, and natural sequestration, which we already discussed. So across any industry's different processes, each process can be decarbonized, and that decarbonized unit can be measured using the single company known as Blockvolt, and it will go to each of the representative registry for that. It's a very complicated process. This is a rough idea about the company, that amount of energy sources, the amount of um, manual auditors like KPMG, PwC that comes into the picture, the amount of registries like Pure, BURE, and then how it converts into different currencies. We unify all of this. This is roughly our tech stack. We have three different types of logins on our web portal. We have the remote monitoring, energy and carbon flow software, which is integrated to the marketplace. And under that is the hardware or the blockchain and the hardware. This the rough team members. We have team members who are coming from the legal platform. We have a team member who's coming from green supply chain. We have carbon management experts, and we have international board members. This is roughly the Blockvolt process reduction time. Every process in registering your project into a carbon registry is manual today, and Blockvolt reduces the time by 45% and the cost by 30%. This is roughly how the hardware looks like. This is our revenue lines. We have a hardware revenue, we have an IoT integration revenue, we have a token revenue and a transaction revenue, which is a subscription, and we have the trading commission. Also, we have two other income on our balance sheet, which is from the energy consulting and the green finance. This is roughly how our revenue looks like with the help of the Telangana government. We hope to double in 2025 and 2026 our revenue line. We are already invoicing. We are a invoicing company. We have revenue. So the expected revenue 2025 is 40 lakhs. Our market cap or the capital or the value of the company now is already at 1.7 lakh, and the expenses is this. We can go into the details of this. This is rough, the final conclusion slide. We bring transparency into your carbon management. We bring accountability, integrity, fairness, accuracy, and traceability. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. So I'll switch off the recording.